Ladies and gentlemen, Wayne LaPierre, Executive Vice President of the National Rifle Association.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I've been leading the NRA in our fight for freedom for more than 2 decades now. We've had some tough fights, and we've been through some rough battles, but we've never backed down. The NRA's 4 million members are among history's most committed, most active, and most political savvy defenders of fundamental freedom that separates us from every other nation on earth. The Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution is the essence of what being an American is all about. Living truly free as individual citizens. No matter what other issues you may care about, it is the core principle of real freedom for each citizen that defines the uniqueness of our nation. There is no greater freedom than to own a firearm to protect yourself, your family, your community, and your nation. Our Second Amendment freedom is truly the heart and soul of America, and our soul is at stake in this election. This campaign is a fight for our country, our values, and the freedom that we believe in. All of our Second Amendment liberty, all of the rights we've worked so hard to defend, all of what we know is good and right about America, all of it could be lost if Barack Obama is reelected. It's all or nothing. And I'm here to announce that gun owners, everywhere I go in this country, are signing on, joining up, and donating to our cause. The fight is on, and the NRA is all in. Let me put that another way. Time after time, election after election, when freedom is at risk, gun owners step up and make a difference. We're stepping up again, and we're not backing down. And mark my words, when the sun goes down on Election Day, Barack Obama will have America's gun owners to thank for his defeat. Now, the president and his campaign advisors, they don't like hearing that. He'll say he hasn't pursued an anti-gun agenda. He'll hit the campaign trail and he'll give us lip service about how he's left gun owners alone during his first term. Well, Mr. President, with all due respect, we've had enough lip service the first term to know we don't need a second term. Sir, it's time for you to go. All that first-term lip service to gun owners is just part of a massive Obama conspiracy to deceive voters and hide his true intentions to destroy the Second Amendment during his second term. Getting reelected has been Barack Obama's top goal since the day he was sworn into office. From day one, he's been looking ahead to 2012. He doesn't want to tangle with NRA's 4 million members or with 30 million people who identify themselves with the NRA or with America's 100 million gun owners. So the president and his consultants made a political calculation to avoid the gun issue during his first term, to make us a non-player in his campaign for a second term. Their strategy was clear. Don't enable anti-gun legislation, and when pressed on the issue of gun control, sing a few platitudes to hunters and shooters to make us think that we're respected. Hide, shroud, cloak any and all desires to attack the Second Amendment during the first term. Wait for the second term. Now, don't get me wrong. I've been around long enough to see politicians have a sincere change of heart. But Obama's already signed on to destroying the Second Amendment and our freedom. He's endorsed a total ban on the manufacture and sale and possession of all handguns. He endorsed a ban on the sale and transfer of all semi-automatic firearms. He backed a 500% increase in federal taxes on guns and ammunition. He voted to ban single-shot, over, under, and side-by-side shotguns. He said the right of lawful citizens to carry a firearm for personal protection should be banned nationwide. In fact, he supported efforts to prohibit Americans from keeping a gun in their homes for self-defense. He did all of those things when he thought gun owners in this country didn't matter. Now he wants us to think he's had a change of heart. But clearly, Barack Obama is no Paul on the road to Damascus. His was a pure political calculation, a conspiracy to ensure re-election by lulling gun owners to sleep. Obama learned from history that NRA members can change history in close elections. He remembers 1994, so do all of you, when Bill Clinton shoved his old gun ban down our throats and gun owners had their say at the polls in the next election and control of the House changed hands. Obama remembers 2000. Gun owners turned out in droves and beat Al Gore in Arkansas, West Virginia, even his home state of Tennessee. We, all of us, we made the difference in that razor-thin election, and will make the difference again in 2012. Now, when I first explained that last fall to the news media, they went crazy, calling me crazy. But I've got news for all you reporters. You can call me crazy, but the media won't win this election. Gun owners will. We see the president's strategy crystal clear. Get reelected, and with no more elections to worry about, get busy dismantling and destroying our firearms freedom. Erase the Second Amendment from the Bill of Rights and excise it from the U.S. Constitution. They're already setting the stage for gutting the Second Amendment and our freedom. The president has already appointed 2 justices to the U.S. Supreme Court, and when given the chance, Obama jumped to put Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan on the bench. They are 2 of the most rabidly anti-gun justices in history. They've joined Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg on the court. Yeah. I'm getting there right now. Not long ago, after hugging Obama like a giddy schoolgirl at the State of the Union, Ginsburg said this about our American Constitution, and I'm quoting her here. I would not look to the United States Constitution if I were drafting a Constitution in the year 2012. I might look at the Constitution of South Africa. Let me quote her again. I would not look to the United States Constitution if I were drafting a Constitution in the year 2012. I might look at the Constitution of South Africa. So much for her oath to uphold our Constitution. If Obama wins re-election, he'll likely appoint 1 and perhaps 3 more Supreme Court justices. If we get 1 more like those 3, the Second Amendment is finished. It'll be the end of our freedom forever, and that is a fact. Operation Fast and Furious is also a fact. But we were never supposed to find out about it. They wanted to create the appearance that straw purchasers in the U.S. caused Mexico's drug wars. So the Justice Department and ATF conspired in secret to allow, encourage, and engage in illegal gun smuggling, knowing full well when they did it that those thousands of guns were headed straight to the cartels. They ran a massive campaign out of the Department of Justice and the White House to manipulate public opinion and encouraged the media to slander the reputations of honest gun dealers when they knew the truth all along. That's the kind of thing you'd expect from some South American dictator, not from a United States Attorney General and not from an American president. President Obama and Attorney General Eric Holder now shrug their shoulders and say, I didn't authorize it, don't ask me. Right now, they're stonewalling 2 congressional investigations, as if Americans shouldn't care that a massive criminal enterprise appears to have been run right out of our own Department of Justice, just to set the stage for a future Obama gun ban. Here are the facts. The Department of Justice launched a criminal enterprise. They smuggled thousands of illegal guns to the drug cartels. Those guns were used to kill a federal agent, Brian Terry. Those guns have and will be used to kill innocent Mexicans and Americans for decades. And they did it all for political gain, so they could wrongly blame honest American gun owners for Mexican drug violence. Now the truth is out, and nobody has been held accountable. Even Valerie Plame got a special prosecutor. All Fast and Furious gets is a White House cover-up. The fact that Eric Holder is still on the job and hasn't been fired is a disgrace. Forget fired, somebody ought to be in jail. Now I ask you, after letting his Justice Department become an accessory to murder, how does the president even look at himself in the mirror? But you won't hear Rachel Maddow talking about the White House cover-up. And Chris Matthews may scoff at my speech, but he won't invite me on his program to talk about Fast and Furious. In fact, the entire NBC network has barely even mentioned the scandal. They've become part of the cover-up, and Brian Williams and everybody at NBC ought to be ashamed. If that wasn't enough, the Obama administration launched that secret operation while it was also working behind the scenes at the United Nations. In the shadows, I believe they've all but signed off on an international arms trade treaty that could effectively ban or severely restrict civilian ownership of firearms worldwide. I've been around long enough to know that the UN has little regard for our Constitution and none at all for the Second Amendment. But I never thought I'd see the day when an American White House would tolerate a proposal that would literally gut one of our most fundamental freedoms in this country. So I went to New York a few months ago to testify before the UN. Talk about an out-of-body experience. It really was. I looked out there, and there were representatives sitting there looking at me from Libya, Russia, China, and Cuba, North Korea, and Syria, and Iran, all those great bastions of freedom. And I looked them right in the eye, and I told them about American freedom, and that they had no authority whatsoever to mess with it, No way, no how. And Americans from one end of the country feel just like you about that. But the sad part is, you won't hear those words from President Obama because he wants to be part of that club of governments. Heck, maybe they'll even give him another Nobel Prize. And when he can, the president will go around Congress to impose any restrictions possible on the right to keep and bear arms. He's already pushing the limits of executive order power, circumventing Congress with backdoor gun registration on lawful firearms purchasers. And we know there are more executive orders ready to go, amounting to a full-scale regulatory war on gun rights of every lawful American citizen. Sotomayor, Kagan, Fast and Furious, the United Nations, executive orders. Those are the facts we face today. The president hopes we'll ignore those facts. He hopes gun owners will follow the elite media who deny them. But we know better. We know those facts and so much more are the nightmares we will all face in a second Obama White House. President Obama and his cohorts will deny their conspiracy to fool gun owners. They'll deny the fact that if this president gets a second term, America as we know it will be on its way to being lost forever. All across this country, everywhere you go, people are worried. Parents fear their kids won't be able to live the American dream. We witness violence and drug gangs in our communities. We see the collapse of our southern border and fear for our safety. We are angered as our American values and culture are sacrificed on the altar of international acceptance. But let me tell you this, we are the majority. We the majority, see the soul of the nation, of our individual freedom, and we see it on the brink of being destroyed. And gun owners are answering the call all across this country to fight back, to save America. Between now and Election Day, we're taking our message directly to the voters in battleground states where this race will be won or lost, where America will be won or lost. Gun owners and Americans who care about our great freedom are stepping up and supporting our cause. We'll spend and do whatever it takes to tell the truth that the media ignores. We're going all in for this election. And if you don't believe me, take a look at this brief sample of what's to come.
This plague is spreading everywhere.
People are assassinated, placed in trunks, left with banners.
We just do what needs to be done.
Do I think the border is secure? Hell no.
This violence, it's not just coming here, it is here.
We're in a war, and we need to deal with it that way.
My wife comes home, a woman's head is in the front yard. Is this America or is this Iraq?
Oh, absolutely. I carry a gun everywhere I go.
No president who has the best interest of this nation as it was created would ever do something like this.
These guys ought to be criminally tried for what they're doing to this nation.
The Sinaloa cartel is in Alamance County. That's why the federal government has designated our area a high-intensity drug area.
Ohio has become a distribution point for the Mexican cartels. They have their foothold here.
Now, there's lots of woods, not too many roads, plenty of space to hide in.
The violence on the border and here is not but 48 hours away. We have some of that violence here. We have murders. We had a kidnapping
The coyotes with the human smuggling, we see them here on a pretty steady basis.
It's not a political issue, it's a national security issue.
It's absolutely an invasion of America. And if we don't stop it, innocent people will die.
It looks like the agency was doing this on purpose. The government actually encouraged gun dealers to sell multiple firearms to known and suspected traffickers.
It's inconceivable that you would let weapons walk.
The ATF screwed up.
I did not authorize it. Eric Holder, the Attorney General, did not authorize it.
Originally, they tried to blame the gun dealers. Then when it became obvious that this was allowed, each time we've tried to go up the chain, we get stopped from going to the next level.
I think it's a case of stonewalling.
I'm not surprised, given that it's the ATF. It has always been a rogue agency.
When does it stop being law enforcement and start being a criminal enterprise? Innocent people are dying.
It's a stealth operation.
They want to set U.S. firearms policy and undermine our Constitution.
The Obama administration is the most radical administration we've ever had, and because the president does see himself as post-American, an arms trade treaty that does contain restrictions on the private ownership of firearms, it's a real possibility.
Neither the United Nations nor any other foreign influence has the authority to meddle with the freedoms guaranteed by our Bill of Rights.
If it wasn't for the NRA's presence at the United Nations, everything would have been lost years ago.
A lot's at stake here.
This was just total devastation.
There are pockets of our society that are not just broken, but frankly sick.
There you had the British police standing there defenceless against a mob.
I recognise in the United States you have the Second Amendment, and I support that. People weren't able to do that here.
Our rights were stolen. We don't really have any rights anymore.
It's safer to be a criminal.
We want our guns back because it was an illegal act. The message to America is stick to your guns and keep your guns. Don't let your government take them away from you.
Once they're gone, they're gone. You're not going to get them back.
It's a great benefit of American freedom, having that never happen here. We're going to deliver that message in every battleground state, and we're going to spell the difference between victory and defeat. The presidency of Barack Obama is a failure in everything we care about. Everywhere you look, any way you look at it, the Obama administration has failed. He has failed. And going all the way back to grade school, when you fail, you flunk. Well, his report card is coming November 6th. And that's when gun owners flunk Obama right out of the White House. Anybody who says gun owners won't be a factor has not paid attention to the past history of elections in this country. Every single time freedom is at risk, it is fought for and preserved by the work, the wallets, and the will of millions of NRA members, gun owners, and patriots. In the face of great peril, we always stand up. We deserve a president who truly shares our values and freedoms, guaranteed by the Bill of Rights, endowed by our Creator, and due all humankind. Our liberty lives in the Second Amendment, the fundamental right that separates us from all other nations on earth. That freedom makes us better than other countries. It makes us stronger. If you believe in freedom, and if you're as sick and tired of all the lies and schemes and Obama failures as I am, join us and stand up in this great fight. If you don't remember anything else I say today, write this down. This is the most dangerous election in our lifetimes. If Obama wins, we'll go to our grave mourning the freedom that will be lost. This election is all in, all of our freedom, all of our rights, and that means all of you. All in. No one sits this one out. So stand up right now and you tell me, will you defend freedom with all your might? Come on. Stand up and let them hear you over at the White House. Will we fight to preserve our liberty and keep our nation strong and safe and free? Will we save America and our freedom? Will we save the Second Amendment from a second Obama White House? We will not be denied our destiny, our place in the history of preserving American liberty. This is our time, our election, to rise up and fight for our rights. We will defend our nation because we must. We will prevail. We will prevail and stand for who we truly are. We are the NRA. We are Americans. We are patriots. We will defend freedom. And in this election, we are, by God, all in. Every single one of us. Thank you, and let's fight for freedom and win this election on November 6th. Thank you very much.